What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 4 different Grayscale trusts today. We're going to talk about BCHG, LTCN, GSOL, and HZEN. If that sounds good to you guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are looking at BCHG at $5.13 here at a relative area that it's been continuing to find support. You know, generally speaking, whenever you find support at some area multiple times, several times, you do expect to break that line. It is completely possible BCHG could go a little bit lower. However, I do want to address that that was a rather, I mean, it wasn't like a small day, almost 7%, but that wasn't that significant of a day for how significant that volume was, in my opinion. I don't know. To be completely fair, you had volume that was pretty comparable to this, I suppose, back here. That day was 11%. It's a little bit bigger, but I don't know. When I see this much volume, I expect a breakout. The fact that it came before you broke out makes me think that you are about to rip. But what you could see first is a little fake out, a little bit more. You find a true double bottom here, and then you rip. So if you move down to 450, don't be surprised, don't be discouraged. I'm sure everybody in the BCHG community right now is already as discouraged as can be, looking at this performance versus BCH. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But I think soon you guys will be vindicated. It's just a matter of time. You're going to wake up. It's going to be like a bad dream. Everybody who's sold here, they're going to probably buy as it's pumping, right? And then the people who are whining about it down here, who sold down here, they'll buy up here, and then they'll be happy that it moves up. But it's like, man, you could, if you just waited, if you were just patient, you were so close. It is literally about to run. And when it runs, guys, this is the beginning of the end. Right? This is the beginning of the end, and what the end's going to look like is new all-time highs. So keep your head in the game, right? You're at $5.13 now. The long-term target by the end of the cycle, probably sometime in August or later, would be anything from a minimum of $67 to potentially $359. You could go higher. You could go higher. It is possible. But with these things underperforming so much, I think it's important that we do adjust our calculations based off of that, right? Whenever we break out, and that's the thing, we don't know what we're dealing with yet. When we break out, I think we'll know better what we're dealing with, how we break out, how we interact with not just the 618 level, but the 886 level and the 1618 level, which is also our all-time highs. We'll know better where to expect this thing as a top. But as of right now, genuinely, anything from $67 to even $800 or more is a possibility for this thing. You don't know, and it's only at $5 now. So please don't get discouraged at these levels. It's just about to rip. It's at very key areas of support here, previous areas of resistance here, support there. It makes sense to find support here. I don't know. You're at your 382, man. It's all the sense in the world. When you're back above $8.56, that's how you know it's time to get excited about this next phase up, which again I think will be worth several $100s likely by the end of this cycle. So that's BCHG. Patience, my friends, right? Just patience. LTCN is another one. LTCN, not LCTN. LTCN. Looking at this on a weekly basis here, you actually close negative 0.1 or negative 1%. Weekly RSI not looking the best, to be completely fair, but it's not looking the worst. It's relatively neutral, as is your price, to be honest. Looking at the high to low here, 0.5 down to your 236. The fact that you're below the 236 is not encourageable, but like BCHG, maybe you go down and you find a double bottom or something like that. Maybe that's what you do. I don't know. I know that there is, let's see, what LTC ETF. It might be the next crypto. 80% of Litecoin as ETF hype shifts sentiment. ETF approval. I mean, maybe it gets approved. I would think, let's just see. When did this all happen? Within the last day. So since it got closed, I don't know. Here's my thoughts, okay? And this is not going to be calming to anybody holding LTCN right now. We're going to know on Tuesday. We're going to know on Tuesday if the ETF's getting approved, because these are some pretty serious seeming headlines, right? And this happened since the weekend, since LTCN was closed. So this happened without, like, this price action is not with these things in consideration. So what my thoughts are is, if the ETF news that we're reading over the past 48 hours is legitimate, is to be taken into consideration, then you're going to see this thing dump down to its NAV price, which means that TA is out the window. Where do we do? Grayscale, LTCN. Come on, LTCN there. Do that. Let's see. Come on now. Blinding screen of retina death. Okay, so we're here. NAV price is at 11.55 for LTCN. Now, here's the thing. So if an ETF gets approved, or if this news is true, what we're going to see is we're going to see LTCN dump down to its NAV price, but you're also going to see LTC pump, because if that news is real, even if it's not known as true in the public eye, there's going to be insiders that know that. So you'll see LTC pump simultaneously to LTCN dumping, which means that this NAV price will only go higher. So it probably won't drop to 11.55 if the ETFs were approved, right? This is only assuming if the ETFs were approved. Does this make sense? If the ETFs were approved while the NAV price is here, and LTCN would drop immediately to that NAV price, if not a little bit lower than it, right? A little bit of fluctuation there. But where was I going with this? I'm sorry, guys. I heard something and I got distracted. I thought someone came into my door, but it was just the heater turning on. Where was I going with this? Basically, the NAV price is going to increase as the price of LTC increases too, even if LTCN drops down to its NAV price. So 1380 now, 1155 is where your NAV price is. I mean, dude, you're not even in the doghouse. That's not even a concern. Wow. That's great. Good job. You know what? Good job, LTCN people. You literally do not have anything to worry about, because even if your worst dreams become realized, that's nothing. That's a walk in the park compared to what you've been through. And then at that point, your price action is literally tied to LTCs. So you're not going to have to wonder why you're not moving anymore. So I actually hope, being that you're so close, I hope you do get a freaking ETF approved. But if not, again, I bet if you saw an ETF denial, while that might knock down LTC's price, I bet you'd see LTCN rip. You would see LTCN rip really hard, which is kind of funny, because normally what's good for this is good for this, but just in this circumstance, what would be bad for this would actually be good for this. It would be my anticipation. So none of that's TA. All that's saying, we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know how the news is going to be received, so let's see on Tuesday. We'll figure it out. And even if it is received negatively, well, on the bright side, your floor is right there, so you got nothing to worry about, man. You really got nothing to worry about. This thing, let's see. Let's just go tit for tat with Litecoin. Screw the idea of it being a Grayscale trust. Let's just make it a tethered move versus Litecoin here. If we take the all-time high here, the very first cycle, or not the very first cycle, but the first cycle that was in this range, that cycle high to cycle low there, the minimum target would be at about 805. I don't think we stop there. 1200 is a good minimum target to have, in my opinion. So that's a 10x from here. But I think 2100 is another good target to have. 2200, something like that. That's about a 17x from here. I actually do see Litecoin doing that, a 17x from here, which would then imply that LTCN tops off. Oh, if it's an ETF, actually it would top off at the same time. So if it topped off at the same time, a 17x for LTCN would only be basically at that 1886 at about 260. But still, you're at $13 now. I don't know. 260 ain't bad, man. It ain't bad at all, and that's if the ETF gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, you're going higher. You're going higher, right? It's only better if the ETF doesn't get approved. So I don't know. That's LTCN. That's the main kind of concerns. I don't think it's worth discussing the price action, especially whenever it could just be tailored straight to the ETF itself. But it's the same price action predictions here as it was the last 80 million weeks. We're looking for a move up to about $27 to $31, and then beyond that, $37 to $44. Once you break above $44.50 there, you are looking for targets at 88 to 162 or more. All right, that's LTCN. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's go on to the next one. We're going to talk about GSOL, and then finish it up with, was it HZEN? That's what we were going to talk about, HZEN. Ooh, you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you, thank you. GSOL from a low. That's not the low. Low to a high. Come on now. Looking like you want to go lower as well. Let's see. What's GSOL? Right. Solana, Coinbase. New all-time highs. Or not new all-time highs. New all-time highs. Yes. Good job. Good job, Solana. 270. Okay. GSOL, Grayscale Trust. Let's see here. What is the NAV price? NAV price is 1630. So GSOL, if you were to drop to NAV price, that is a bit of a drop from here. I don't know if you do, right? It seems like what's good for Solana is being good for you right now too. So I do think inevitably you probably do connect with your NAV price if Solana obviously gets an ETF approval. But as of now, it seems what's good for Solana is good for GSOL. So I don't know. It moved up a lot on Saturday. Yesterday, moving up 19%, and today it's moving up more, right? That was probably because of the Trump meme coins. So I would assume GSOL, you probably move up a good bit tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Tuesday. You probably do, unless some crazy catastrophe happens with the Trump meme coin, and then thus Solana tanks too, right? Because that's a big, there's literally a multi-billion-dollar meme coin that just came out on Solana. So that's, if it tanks, if something disruptive happens with it, that could negatively impact Solana, which would negatively impact GSOL. So it's kind of funny that a meme coin could actually impact this thing. But generally speaking, the next target area would be something at around $49. You're at 26 now. Regardless of what happens, even if an ETF gets approved and you connect with your NAV price, you're going to move up. We've done this so many times. It's inevitable that Solana, if it does and when it does, break above $1,000 and potentially go to the targets that we have for that. Let's see, which would be from a high to a low. You know, minimum target would be about 1,000. Then potentially, it's like Litecoin, right? 2,200, 1,100, something like that for your minimum targets or expected areas, I would say. If Solana does that, then if GSOL were to connect to the NAV price, then, you know, that's still got another 4 to 8x left in it from the NAV price, which would be at like 1650, right? 1680. I mean, that's a 5x right there. That's an 8x. If it were to do an 8x, I mean, that'd take you to new all-time highs. So new all-time highs are still possible for GSOL, but I absolutely do believe that one way or another it will return to prices around 100, if not around 90 in time. So it's looking good. I think it moves up to start the week next week. In fact, the longer term, it kind of depresses me because that just seems so insignificant in growth compared to some of the things that we look at. On the bright side, it's actually still pretty significant growth. I would take a 7x or an 8x any day. But on the negative side, there's definitely a lot of other projects that I have my eyes on that I think can do a lot more growth than that. But I would expect that we see GSOL in the short term probably outperform a lot of these Grayscale trusts just because of Solana itself. So you'll probably see like a 20% move just to open up the week next week. So hopefully we'll see. Anyways, I got one more to talk about. HZEN here. I almost ended the video there, but HZEN, here we are. Looking at HZEN. I think it's about to rip. I actually think, and I was looking at ZEN earlier, I might make a video on ZEN after this, to be completely fair, because I think ZEN is about to rip, you guys. I think it's about to run really hard. I was doing some measurements, so you got the lower low here on your weekly RSI bouncing off the 64 area. Nice, whatever, previous area of resistance, confirming it as support. I like it. I like the lower lows. I like the higher lows. I like that. Looking at the 3-day time frame, same thing, lower lows, higher lows there, beautiful. Bouncing off the 50. That's a nice bullish engulfing candle to kind of break you out of this range here. Daily time frame there, yeah, it looks very strong. It looks like you're moving with the purpose. The area that I would measure to would be from this high to low here, last cycle high to the bear cycle low. You're at the 61869 all the way to the 382, man. It's you literally went from the 382. This is what I got excited about earlier when I was looking at 382 to 236, 618 to 382. I have no doubts in my mind you're going up to the 886, man. You're going all the way up there. Why? Because you've been respecting the fibs so much, and also look at that. That's your top zone right there. You might even go a little bit above it. You're at $24 right now, ZEN, Horizon, and you're about to make a move that's on the cusp of like a 4x, right? 4.6x, okay? Genuinely. And this probably happens by the end of February. So HZEN, buckle up. You're going for a ride, buddy. You're going for a big ride. If ZEN's going to do 4x, I suspect this thing will do a lot more x, right? Probably like an 8x or definitely just more than a 4x. The 1886 is all the way at $42. That's a good stopping point, I think. $78, it could get there. So let's say 42 to 78 bucks by the end of February. HZEN, most bullish one out of all of them. If I was looking to get into any grayscale trust right now, it'd probably be Mana, HZEN, G-Link, BCHG maybe. I don't know. But then again, this is the same point that I've made since the beginning, since I've talked about these grayscale trusts from the beginning, why I don't own any, and it's unfortunately it's a reason that's only really come to light out of experience for the people who have heard this. Not like it's not one of those. It's not one of those things that you hear people say and then you respect it. Or my daughter's crying. Hold on, guys. It was so close to the end too. Damn it. I think it's okay. All I'm trying to say is it's more risky to get into derivatives. Grayscale trusts are derivatives, and they likely pump harder than the underlying asset does. But whenever you have private placement sales coming into play, when you have humans, and this was always my reasoning for why I invest in the underlying asset instead of the Grayscale Trust, when you have humans involved, there's more room for error, and that more room for error adds the risk. So yes, even though I would buy HZEN over all the other Grayscale Trusts, I would rather buy ZEN. I'm pretty confident now that HZEN outperforms ZEN on this next move. I would still rather buy ZEN because I don't care about the more gains. I care about the more security. I care about the protocol that's written in the software I can invest in the crypto. I don't care about the whatever protocols that these people in charge, these human beings in charge of Grayscale, can incorporate at any given moment that they want, right? That's not fair to me. At least that's not, maybe it's not that it's not fair to me. You know what you're getting into, or you should know what you're getting into before I suppose it's all fair, right? It's just not, it's not the level of risk that I tolerate personally. So while these Grayscale trusts I think are an effective means, as ironic as that might be with some of them, GSOL, LTCN, and BCHG being pretty disappointing, and really just all of them being disappointing over the past few months, I really do think that a majority of them will do everything that we've been expecting them to do. They're going to outperform their underlying assets from like here on through like the next 6 months probably. I expect that to be the like 90% of them do that. I still personally would advise not staying away from them, right? Not financial advice. Do your thing. If you want to invest in Grayscale Trust, go for it. Just because I'm not investing in them doesn't mean that you should invest in them. I think they're a great vehicle for investing, but maybe don't put all your exposure in just that. Maybe have some exposure in the Grayscale Trust and in the underlying assets, or in other crypto-related stocks, right? Don't just have all your assets in one place. That's never a good thing. So I got nothing else for you guys. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.